So I've been thinking recently, we hear a lot about the speed in which e-mountain bike technology has been evolving, but if you look at the advances in, say, aerospace technology, it doesn't really hold a candle to it. But there have been some landmark moments that have changed the game for years to come, and the first thing that comes to my mind is the TQ HPR 50 drive unit. The TQ HPR 50 drive unit system was released just over a year ago, and we really like it for the reasons that it's a small package that if you were to look at a regular mountain bike silhouette and an e-mountain bike silhouette with that motor, it's almost indiscernible. It's virtually silent. It's got seamless engagement that as soon as you start to put the pedal down, it gives you the assistance when you need it. Not forgetting to mention that it's got a weight-based range calculation. So you can get a really accurate range calculation based on the rider weight. So a really interesting point, but it's worth understanding that it's not just about the physical unit and product itself, it's actually the firmware that supports it. And when I'm talking about firmware, I think of, say, the Bosch e-mountain bike mode. That was a massive game changer. Bosch's e-mountain bike mode has been available on the CX Performance drive unit since around 2017 through an update. Now, the great thing about this update is that it's able to give you the mode which increases your assistance and sensitivity for those bigger, chunkier, more technical terrain, and it gives you a lot of control in the bike. Not only that, it's able to go into an extended boost mode, which gives you overrun just as you need it for that really gnarly section. And on the other side of things, it's able to dial that all back in a bit so that you can get a better battery consumption over on mellower trails, say. And they've really thought about the whole e-mountain biking riding experience. So they've got a system which gives you a bit of extra oomph when you're starting from stationary to really help you when you're stuck on a hill climb, say. And on the topic of assistance and dynamic support, it'd be stupid not to mention Shimano's Autoshift function. Shimano's Autoshift function that's available on their new EP801 or E600 systems, it's a fully automated shifting setup that is tunable to the rider's preference. And it allows you to be able to take your focus off shifting and really focus on the flow and the ride state. It's able to make split-second decisions that are far quicker than I can think of them. And it's also got the functionality to be able to shift down into an easier gear as you start to slow down, which is such an incredible feature for, say, hill starts. It's an absolute game changer. But that's not the only thing that came with that update. They also introduced Freeshift. Now, Freeshift uses the drive from the motor to be able to shift gear while you're coasting. And I think it's an incredible tool to be able to look ahead of the trail and set yourself up for a steep section that might be incoming while, hey, you might not be in a position to be able to pedal. The fact that you can actually set yourself up to the optimum gear without having to spin the cranks is a huge benefit. But computers aren't just about doing everything for us. They are actually able to give us a lot back. So, using like the latest Garmin Connectivity technology, you're able to connect directly to any ANT plus EMTB system. Now, using one of these computers, or even watches to be honest, you're able to access so many data screens that are fed directly from your e-mountain bike. So things like cadence, range, battery percentage, all of these. So the connection to these devices is automatically wireless. So there's no cables or fuss needed. And I think the fact that you're able to use third-party apps from the Garmin IQ store, mean that you can check things, the detail of battery temperature, battery voltage, even checking error codes that might have occurred on your mountain bike is incredible. So Bosch have actually created a modular battery family. It does vary brand to brand, but as long as you have the correct mounting system, you're able to use a 500, 65, 750 watt-hour battery. Another amazing point on this is the fact that it's actually backwards compatible. So you're able to, potentially give an older e-mountain bike a whole new lease of life. And I think in essence, what this comes down to is being able to tune and choose how the bike handles. It can make a massive difference between different weights and batteries. Another modular battery system we saw was actually at Eurobike with the eRide modular batteries. Now, You're able to choose a 240 watt-hour battery and have a multiple of 3 in there. So 240, 480, or even 720 watt-hours of power. Now, they only come in at around 1.1 kilo per pack. So you can really choose how you want your ride to feel. And not only that, in terms of, say, bike packing or longer distance riding, you're really able to chuck a few extra packs in the bag and go that extra mile. So Eurobike was filled with the latest and greatest as far as tech's concerned, and we can't really talk about ultimate tech unless we talk about Dangerholm's custom Scott Lumen eRide, the world's lightest e-mountain bike, coming in at 12.9 kilos. Now that was brimming with one-off gadgets and super high-end tech. So the lengths that were used to actually keep that weight down were absolutely mind-blowing. You know, even down to using spokes that were made of a thread. It's not only that was incredible, it was under the bonnet, you know, there was that TQ battery that was a one-off carbon casing from TQ themselves. But it's not only the fact that it was the weight saving that was kept down, it was the aesthetics and how clean that bike were. You know, a low-key cockpit, even down to having the Serviceable magnetic ring shifter. Now there was actually another bike that was a one-of-a-kind, but I don't think the plan is for that one to remain as a one-of-a-kind bike. I'm talking about that prototype CrossWorx bike we saw at Eurobike. Now, it features that classified Powershift 2-speed shifting hub, which was massively impressive. It was able to, you know, make a huge jump in cadence while being changed under load, and it was honestly seamless. And I think it's not only that, it's powered with the Bosch SX motor, which is able to give you a higher peak watts. So even on that 2-speed system, it had a really natural feel with enough power to get you through. And not only that, it was belt driven. So that essentially means it's maintenance free as far as the drivetrain is concerned. Now, I just mentioned about the Bosch SX motor, and we were lucky enough to be at the launch in Germany. And the statement of the whole thing was that the motor was able to keep up with a full powered e-mountain bike motor. Now, when you're sitting at 120 RPM, the 600 peak watt output really does mean you can do just that, keep up. It shows that torque's not the only thing that needs to be considered when we talk about motor capability. You know, the fact that it's got such a good output in such a small package is really incredible. And it weighs in at 2 kilos or just under, which kind of creates its own mid-power category now. And it's important to consider the other side of motors, the repair aspect. You know, Polini have got their full range of fully serviceable e-bike motors. Now, being able to replace every single individual part really must, you know, that wins ultimate longevity. But, you know, having seen firsthand that you can replace and repair one of those motors entirely within 30 minutes is absolutely mind-blowing. Nothing is left out of question. You know, you've got axles, drive units, and even down to the actual motherboard itself. Everything is individually purchasable. And I think they've been making huge steps into creating e-mountain biking to be a much more sustainable and future-proof industry. Whew, well, blimey, that was a journey. And to be honest, there's even more that we could have mentioned, you know, down to like the Rocky Mountains mechanical torque sensor, or even e-mountain bike geometry. We'll save that for next time, you know. To be honest, even suspension design, or there's that new SRAM motor that everyone seems to have been talking about. And down when it comes to motor gearbox units, you know, we've seen a big surge of those recently, and most recently that pinion MGU. You know, I think it makes sense for the hybrid and the cargo bike sort of world at the moment, but we'll see how well it transfers to e-mountain bikes, and, you know, fingers crossed for that. So guys, make sure you leave your comments down below with what you thought on my choice of ultimate tech. You know, I'd love to hear what you guys thought against what I've chosen, and to be honest, what you guys might add yourself. It's a really interesting topic to be able to talk about. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We always love to see what you guys come up with, and we'll catch you all next time. Thanks for watching.